regular council meeting, Jim Proctor Elder Center. Thank you all for being here. And with that, I call this meeting to order. If you would please, we'll move to item number 2 on the agenda, and that's invocation. Who wants to do the invocation this morning? Peggy, would you?
Thank you for giving us this day to glorify you, Lord. And that's what it's all about. It's nothing about us. Just ask you to be with everyone that's here today, Lord, and just the ones that are still on their way. Give them safe traveling grace and spirit. I just thank you for this opportunity, Lord, again, to stand before you and to thank you for all the things that you've done for us as individuals, as people, and as a tribe, Lord. And just help us to do the things that you want us to do as council people, the things that we're supposed to do. But do it in love, Lord. Do it glorifying you and not about us, Lord. I just praise you again for this day, Lord. Thank you for all the things that you have provided for us as individual people and as families. There's things that's going on in the families right now, Lord, but I know that you've got a plan for it all. And I'm just going to leave it in your hands that you're going to take care of. Thank you, Lord, again, for all the people that's here today. Just bless and meet the needs, Lord. In Jesus' name I
pray. Thank you, Councilor Gertie. We're moving on to item number 3, roll call.
Good morning, Council. I will call for item number 3, roll call. Eddie? Jeannie? Here. Ella Mae?
Auntie.
Adeline? Frankie? Sharon? Joyce here. Peggy?
Here.
Jamie?
Here.
Charles? Charles will be absent as he was traveling in this morning, but he got sick, so he turned around and went home. Barry? Jeff?
Here.
Okay, Chief, Council, we have quorum.
Okay, thank you for that, Secretary and Council. Welcome you all. The next item is item number 4, the Chief's address to the Council. Before I begin, with my report, I want to tell you of an incident that happened on the way in, and I hope it doesn't happen to you, but it's a sign of the spring. Right about the Cherokee-Adair County line, as I was coming through there, probably barreling about 65, 70 miles an hour, I came upon a whole herd of turkey. And in order to save my truck, the last time I hit a wild turkey, it left a dent in my hood about that big around. So I immediately came to a screeching halt. But anyway, I certainly hope that doesn't happen to you on the way out this afternoon. All right, well, thank you. Certainly, it's my pleasure and honor to address the council, and we have a good group of folks on hand this morning. We have a lot to discuss and a lot to work on. So with that, I'm going to go on. Presently, we have no word from the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals, and I know that could be disheartening, but we still have to maintain a positive outlook on this. This will mark the 11th month as we go into as time since our meeting there in Denver, Colorado on May 16th, 2018. This past month, the inclement weather policy was applied on Monday the 4th. I believe we had a snow day, so hopefully we're past all those. I did receive frost on all my garden. It's gone, so I'm going to have to start all over again on that. A delegation, we met with Planet Bingo to talk over and look at the possibilities of going back to our original state, back when John Hare announced and brought about paper bingo. So we've got some good reports from them. We're looking at the machinery and so forth, the bingo board, the blower, and so on, and that may become a good possibility. And with that, with the council's blessing, we'd like to proceed with that, and we'll get into that later on. One of the trips that we did this past month, was the trip to Washington, D.C. With that, there was two focuses. One was to update and reacquaint ourselves with the officials from the Bureau of Indian Affairs and so on. And the other one was because of our litigation with the FCC at this time. Both were well recognized. We had a meeting with the Assistant Secretary, the Director of the Bureau of Indian Education, the Office of the President, the Intergovernmental Office as well. We got some really good words from those folks as well. So rather than go into details about it, that's where we're at. We met with a representative from Debbie Highland's office, the representative out of New Mexico, in regards to the FCC litigation. That was well received, and as of today, we have no word on that litigation at this time. One of the things that is going on right now is our audits, and our audits are behind. We're coming up on the anniversary of the second audit for 2018. At this time, it's putting a crunch on us in terms of applying for new grants and things of this nature, as well as our indirect cost formula, that sort of thing. At this point, we're moving forward with that. We hope to have our audits completed very soon. The request was submitted to HUD for an extension of the federal agencies that are allowable. Only HUD is allowed to give an extension. BIA and IHS are not allowed to do so. So we may face some sanctions in the long run. Next week, during the Turkey Days, April 12th through 13th, the John Hare Museum curator, as well as myself, will be up there representing the tribe in Turkey Days. At the same token, I have planned on visiting with some other government agencies, in particularly the Bureau, to look at. I know we've had a conversation about reviewing the 477 programs and all those with the Bureau, and at this time, I'm happy to announce that the Bureau, the President, consolidated some programs last year, 2018. And with that, Homeland Security, Department of Justice, the Bureau, a number of agencies came together. So right now, they're ironing out the footwork for that, as far as the funding and the funding features of the programs and what this program, they've combined it all. So we may not have to go through the Bureau of Indian Affairs for all this, as the monies will come from different agencies to fund this. Now, with that, what that means is items like adult education, the GED program, as well as higher ed, the summer youth programs, the employment and training programs, the VOTEC, that sort of thing, were all involved in the 477. That's one of the things we want to talk about with the folks up there. The next item on that is with discussion with Dr. Lowe, and looking at Dr. Lowe is with us, an acquaintance to the Katuas. He's very instrumental in some of the research program that's going on through Florida State University, and he's with us as far as that goes. But he's introduced to a new program, and that's called Health Resource Service Administration. Within that, they look at projects for unserved populations. And with that, the possibility of there's a possibility there may be funding available to fund clinics and things of this nature. So that's one of the ideals that we want to look at and talk about with them. I mentioned earlier the impending sanctions, that sort of things for our audit. The one item in particular, we've had it for the HUD audits, now the self-governance is looking at that. Items on the agenda for the future, we have some things in terms, in addition to our budget, to see where we're at with that. We have to look at things that are coming, the tri-council meeting on the 24th of June, the football camp that we have yearly coming up, the expenditure with that, things like the daycare reduction in their payments. I know that came up last time, so we'll have to look at that. And with that, I'm going to close off on that, and I will go to item number 5 with the approval of the regular minutes for the month of March.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Assistant Chief and Councilman for Flint District, if you have a motion and a second, may I include the March 18th in that for that special meeting? Because I had.
Those were in my packet. I read.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in my
Okay,
packet.
so I'm because the item here just has
okay.
regular, so
All
I'm
right.
going to add
Yeah,
the special
that's
meeting.
fine. I
Okay.
read them both.
Thank you.
I wasn't here for the special meeting, but I was here for the March meeting. So if they're both included, can I go ahead and vote for the special meeting also? Because all it is it just,
Yes, you can vote for both. As you
okay, as since they're both inclusive. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, isn't that what
Yeah.
you're gonna?
And
yeah,
if you'll
in the-
see this here that I had on your desk, these are the business that was conducted
Okay.
out of that meeting.
Okay. All right. And I did read that. So
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Is everyone understanding that? I had attached the business of that. Okay, I will call for vote for item number 5, approval of the regular minutes for March and the special meeting for March. We have a motion by Jamie and a second by Frankie. I will call for vote. Eddie?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Ella May?
Yes.
Adeline? Frankie? Sharon? I vote yes. Peggy? Jamie?
Yes.
Charles is absent. Barry? Jeff?
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries. Chief, Council, thank you.
Okay, motion passes. Oops. All right, thank you for that, Council. Moving right along, item number 6, reports to Council and presentations. Enrollment program or enrollment report, district meeting info, MOUs. Secretary Hawk.
Okay, Council, you have in your packet relating to the enrollment meeting that was held on March the 26th. At that time of business, there was 1 application for new membership, 3 requests for tribal relinquishment. And in the notations for the reason for relinquishment, we had 1 for medical, 1 just stated other, and the 3rd relinquishment had 3 items. It was for housing, medical, and general assistance. But at this time, I would ask for approval for my report. Okay, council, I will take a vote for the enrollment report with the motion by Adeline and a second by Eddie. I will call for vote. Eddie? Jeannie? Elamay?
Yes.
Adeline? Frankie? Sharon? I vote yes. Peggy?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
Charles is absent. Barry? Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, Chief, Council, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, at this time, too, we had, and it's unfinished business. If you'll see the paper that I have on one is for the charter with Bacone College. Before we enter that item, there is also the MOU that we were just waiting on from the Attorney General to review and to send. That was with that full blood clothing. Is that right? I know, but I just gave them a copy of that because that's what we had been waiting on. So you all had approved it, but I have attached it to that. So just wanted to give you a clarification on that. So we'll prepare the resolution for all that now that we have it on hand.
I'd like to make a motion to charter Bacone College as a tribal college at this time.
I'll second that.
I want to double second that and also note that we missed you the other night. We had a meeting with them, a dinner that went, I mean, they brought a lot of food.
Yeah,
We
I
didn't
set
know
that up.
anything about it. We didn't know anything about it. So we'd appreciate more notice next time.
Yeah. It was kind of a late notice. It came through. It was Sunday evening, and I was out of town, and so it happened actually about 11 o'clock Sunday night. So just kind of a late notice, and was finalized at that time.
Certainly enjoyed it and certainly appreciated it. I'd like to just say a few comments about this. This is a great day for me and for our Katua people, I believe, because several years ago I was working in Montana, and up on the Flathead Reservation, they have a Salish Kootenai College up there. And I had an account with that college as a sales rep. And when I went through and saw that small college, I've always dreamed about our people, our Katua, having a college. And when I saw that, I thought then, someday we could have this as a reality. And so whenever Councilman Wakachi asked me to go over and meet with Dr. Clark, I went over there and with, an open mind as I enter a lot of meetings. And the more we discussed it, it became a reality in my mind from what I had thought about from 2004. And so I feel like this is a great step forward for the Katua, Cherokee, and our youth. I'm 61 years old, so I'm headed over the horizon, but it's not what we do here today that really counts. It's what we leave behind. And I think that our youth and our students, the young people we have, I see running around and in the Child Development Center over there, that our Katuas will have a great opportunity because of this decision that we're making here today. That's all I would say. And I appreciate Dr. Clark being open and honest, and all the people that work with him have met. I'm looking forward to some great things from Bacone. Thank you.
Additionally, we just want to express our thank you and gratitude for the meal the other night. That was pretty good. Thank you for that. And at the same token, this solidifies the tie. Folks out there that are wanting to be a part of our growth and our success as well, in terms of Bacone, Northeastern State University, FSU as well. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We're making a move forward for our future. Thank you very much. Chief. Nihid Zaduli, Jawonis, the council, huh?
Yate, Mr. Chair, Mr. Chief, Second Chief, honorable council members to the United Katua Band of the Cherokee Nation. And I want to thank all of you individually, your professional, your cultural, your families, your tribal government, your people, and the opportunity that we are charting a new partnership together for the future of our Indian students and our language, our culture, and our history, and the sovereignty and all the opportunities, and for the Katuas to step up when we need some help is really tremendous, and demonstrates your commitment to your people and to our Native people all together. So I want to express that appreciation. Eddie Sachs and I know Jeff Okachi are like alumni of Bacone College, and there are a lot of alumni that love Bacone. And the other night was just an opportunity to share our information, and all my staff here with me this morning, this time too. So I want to say that much.
Hey, council, we have a motion by Jeff and a second by Jamie to approve to charter with Bacone College. I will call for vote. Eddie? Jeannie? Yes. Ella May?
Yes.
Adeline? Frankie? Yes. Sharon? Yes. I vote yes. Peggy?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
Charles is absent. Barry?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, Chief, Council, motion carries.
Congratulations and thank you. Well done. Excuse me for not getting out. Thank you, sir. Chief, I'd like to ask one thing. Please get situated here. Is our logo going to be situated with this in some shape or form? Dr. Clark, at this time, the question has been raised, and certainly my idea of it is our logo going to be affixed to the university at this time? Is that what you were asking? That's correct.
We'll take a logo and we'll take a flag if you have one right now. And Mr. Chief, we have a board meeting next week. And so as we move forward, there's some steps that we are still having to go through. But to get the formal agreement between the Katuas and our board, but also we got to get 51% American Indian student population. So we're still trying to get those students enrolled. So if you have your children, your grandchildren, great-grandchildren, but we still need to get that. And then we have to submit an application to the American Indian Higher Education Consortium. And so that was set forth in that resolution that we presented. So it'll take some time, but this is the beginning of a long partnership. It's just amazing. It's an awesome story. And yeah. We'll work towards that and that announcement and that formal partnership as well. So once we get the signed resolution, then we'll adopt that with our board, and our board has to also make their changes as well, because there's going to have to be some amendments to the bylaws of our board. So that way there's that seat for the Katuas on that council as we become a tribal college. So this is, you are the beginning of this change in Bacone Indian College becoming a tribal college. So it's going to continue to take some hard work and cooperation. And we're excited to offer courses here. My staff have already been out here, talked to your director at the museum. We met with Dr. Lowe with the FSU regarding the nursing program. And we're going to meet with some other tribes. And we have a donor that wanted to support the nursing program. So this meeting with Dr. Lowe is going to help us solidify that as well. So we're excited, and we'll have a time and a place to get together again. Okay. Yes, we'll get that to you, and we'll work on maybe a team, our team, to work with your team, your Department of Education, or whoever you appoint to the working team to formalize all this. That'll be probably the next steps. And so we'll meet with Chief Bunch and your team when it's appropriate. Okay, so we're excited. Thank you very much. It's great news. Aho. Thank God. Thank the Creator. Thank you very much. Aho.
I think it's a good thing that is done. But let's not forget about the Muscogee Nation. I know you don't have talked about it and talked with them. But it would be a good thing, I believe, for every tribal relation to remain amicable. And if you serve notice to them what we come, respecting one another. They don't have any say so over that. But just to me, to remain on friendly terms, it will be even better, I think, if you just take the lesson. Okay. That's just a thought. And I think what you've done is a wonderful thing for the Kituwa man and the Kituwa people. And so they come. But as I say, it's my opinion that to work hand in hand with the Muscogee Nation, at least to get that thing checked out. That's what it is.
I have spoken with some of the members of the council with the Muscogee Creek Nation, and they were all very excited that we were taking this venture. And they actually said that they wished that they could help us with the charter and that, but they actually just said all they can help us in the future was with monetary donations. And I said, well, that's a good thing right there. And so they were pretty excited about it. This was Patrick Freeman Jr. And Deer and Joyce Deer and Beaver. And so, yeah, so it was a good, I also reached out to them myself, so like I said, I have creeks in my family too. So I wanted to be sure that, it was we weren't stepping on any toes, and we wanted to be sure. And we had, that great relationship. So they were pretty excited about it, just as we are excited about it too. So, yeah. So just to let you know that we didn't just go and jump in and tell them we're doing this. And so, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Yes, we'll.
I need to say a few words if I could, please.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to see this thing be on the national media. There's a lot of Indian tribes out there that I'm sure would be interested in this. So I don't think it just needs to be locally. It needs to be all over the United States. Let everybody know what's going on with the UKB. Well done.
Thank you for those comments. And at this time, we'll move forward. Thank you, sir.
I think a lot of it is going on national media right now because this is broadcast in Washington, D.C. and all across the country. We've got people watching in California and D.C. The Bureau of Indian Education director says he watches our meetings. So that's a good start.
Okay, council, to continue under my time for the reports to council, there's also Ernestine Berry is not here to speak, but she had called me this morning. She just needed a consensus of the council to for approval to go ahead and work to submit an IMLS grant towards the museum. So if you all at this time, she'll have more information later. She just wants approval from the council by consensus to go forward to apply for that IMLS grant. And at this time, with just the raising of your right hand for her to submit, I will take it now. Okay, thank you, and I will inform Ernestine.
Okay, thank you for that. Staying true to the agenda at this time, we'll move to financial reports. Treasurer Worley.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Well, we just heard some good news, didn't we? We're now chartered with Bacone. And I know there's a lot of good things going on with UKB. But unfortunately, I'm the bearer of not such good news. Monday night, we had a budget meeting, and we received a packet like this. So the ones of you that weren't there, I gave you their packets. Eddie, Jeff. So, and then today or yesterday, I received this. So if you want to look at this, there's notes on the top if you've not already read it. And it doesn't sound really good. So we've been under deficit, and if you look on the third page, we're in a deficit of looks like $215,337.52. So we're going to have to do something. And we've talked about this, a few of us have. And the budget was changed as we were going, and we were going off the old budget, and there were more things added on. So I think we're going to have to do, and this is rough, we're going to have to do some riffing. We're going to have to do some riffs. We're going to have to talk about the insurance and maybe do some contracts, because we can't keep on going like this. And I've said before, we're low on money. And this is just the gen fund I'm talking about. So the programs, the grants, they're all right. It's just the gen fund. And your budget looks like this, and then there's some more numbers in there. So if you want to read the top, you can read it on your own. So like I said, I think we need to have maybe a couple of budget meetings. And I'm proposing on Saturday, next Saturday, where everyone can be here. So everyone can come. Because Monday night, it was kind of rough, and some of them couldn't make it, and it was too fast. So if we set a budget meeting maybe next Saturday, we could have come here or over in the courtroom. What do you think? Yes, we do.
What is your proposal? You must have some kind of proposal to try to alleviate this situation.
I just said, we're going to have to riff some people. Reduction, and then if we get monies again, we can bring them back and maybe do contracts part-time. And we have insurance. That insurance is a big lump of sum. I don't remember exactly. I don't remember if it's like 600,000 or so, So we're going to have to think about that, or talk about it and see. That's my proposal right now.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Because IDC isn't bringing in enough monies to cover, and that's even besides our bills. We've got bills coming in all the time. So next Saturday at 10, 9.
LMA, I'll second that, if you're
Okay.
making a motion.
Okay, thank you. So Joyce, I guess it's a motion. We have a meeting. Yeah, okay. So are we at 10? Yeah. And if everybody can make it, yeah. Maybe show of hands, Joyce. And be sure and bring this, and I'll talk with our accounting specialist also. And then bring all your packet, the big packet that you received the other night. You can bring that, kind of study it over if you can. So Saturday at 10 o'clock.
I have a quick question. If you recall at the meeting Monday night, we talked about a little bit about what the directors had turned in for budgets. Is that something that they can have at that time, or are we still looking at something totally different?
Well, the directors, the majority of them have their own programs, their grants.
Okay, so they don't. It's not involved
No.
with this gen fund.
No, because
Okay.
they know what their monies are. This is just the gen fund monies that we're talking about. And we do get IDC from the programs
Okay.
also.
So if you're talking about rifting, then we'll need to have the people that are employed through general funds. We'll have to know
Right.
who those people are and what departments that they
Right.
are being paid.
And we know who they are.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I think that needs to be, when we have it Saturday, we need to have that information also.
Right, right. And I'll have that, and I
Okay.
do know
Okay.
who they
all
are.
right.
I'm questioning the same thing, what you said, Peggy. We did discuss Monday night about the directors bringing their reality budget. And
It's
the
gotta be bare
bone.
bones.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
gotta be bare bones. They can't have
yeah.
they can't have something that's way up here.
Okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, you just said that directors have their own, they know how they spend how
Yeah.
to spend their money. But that's not what she was referring to.
Oh,
What
I'm
we
sorry.
talked about the other night, that they bring in their bare bone budget.
Okay,
And
we-
so we're asking you, will we have that?
we can have that
Okay.
because they
Yeah.
do have those. Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
I correct in correcting this? Yeah.
Yes, we can have that.
Yeah, LMA, it's my understanding that the biggest majority of the directors are working from grant funds, not necessarily from the gen fund. And there are two different
Right,
categories.
right.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's, I think that's what I'm talking about, is make sure that like the number of employees that we have.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you that right now off the top of my head. How many are federal, have their own monies? There's not going to be impacted by what we're going to be talking about here, and how many are not federal grant money employees? It's what I'm looking at or asking for.
There's probably, off the top of my head, probably about 3 or 4
Okay,
with gen fund.
okay.
Maybe 4, maybe 5.
And out of that 5, is there really a way to rift those people, or are they, because they're evidently, if they're being paid through gen funds, that's something that the tribe, they need to be here for the tribe. In my mind, that's what I'm thinking. Like a talk,
I, you were hitting on the same point I was thinking. I think what you're asking for is a list of people that are being specifically paid by general fund monies.
right.
Then we'll have to decide how crucial their responsibilities
Right.
are
Mhm.
and look at
Right.
it from that standpoint. Is that
Right,
kind of clear?
that's correct. That's
And I'm thinking the same thing there that you are. So what we need at that meeting would be the people that are getting paid or getting funded through gen fund only. These directors all work off a federal program.
Right.
Right.
Now they have people in their departments that are being paid through that funding. So we don't need those names, in my viewpoint. We need the people. Beg your pardon? Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we know
We
that,
know
yeah.
that. That's what I'm saying. But we need the specific people that's being paid
right.
on
Get
gen
that
fund, which
list.
would be your name included. And so then we can decide as a council who's crucial and who can
Right.
be rifted or something like that.
And
It's
I can
unfortunate
bring
that we have
those.
to get to this
Okay.
point, but it's something we're gonna have to look at. And, you know, we may have to cut our wages as well.
That's right. And I'm ready for that too. We need, we can cut ours.
So with all of this being said, once we are able to look at the general fund, if there's a possibility of any of these directors being able to pick these up, can we kind of send them toward the director's way so they could maybe do a part-time contract with them until we get everything worked out?
On some maybe, yeah. Not the majority of them.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm just thinking maybe one or two.
Certainly, once all the information gathering is through, and we have it in front of us, we'll be able to make those decisions that we're talking about
Right.
at this time. No doubt about it.
Right.
We'll have a better handle on that particular item. And so with that, we'll hold off on that until next Saturday,
Yeah,
10 o'clock?
10 o'clock.
Right, right. That's a possibility, no doubt about it. There's always that possibility, yes. Believe you me, we don't want to remove individuals as far as that goes. Okay. Having said that, one thing I do want to add is I'll have my comments regarding that, and I will leave them with the secretary for discussion as of next weekend, because we will be in Washington for that, the Turkey Day, so to speak. So I won't be there. Okay. But I will leave my comments with the secretary for her to discuss with y'all. Okay. All right. Having said that,
Okay, I just asked, since it's pretty tight over there when we meet, if we're all here, can we have it here? Is that okay? As a courtroom small where we meet, so if we can have it here. Okay.
all right. Moving forward, we have corporate board. Assistant Chief.
You have your corporate board reports there in front of you, and if you see one item in there that the corporate board is approved to bring on our part-time executive director to full-time, and I'm proud to say that he's a Katua, and he's an educated young man, so I'm going to delegate some of the responsibility and let him start giving the corporate board report. Randall, would you please come forward?
Good morning. The monthly report for March 2019, the corporate board met on the 29th. All members were present. Chief Joe Bunch, Ella Mae Worley, and myself were present also. Business proposals were presented by Michael Barber of Bet 4, which he came with more of an update than the proposal. He gave an update on how the River Brew House and the billboard businesses are doing. He came in and basically told the board about where he is and where things are, and he was working on some funding. We hit some glitches, but we overcame some of that, so the project is still moving forward. Mitch Forbes with Forbes Millwork presented a solution on milling some pecan trees down at the old roundhouse property. He can mill the trees into boards, posts, and various sizes and sell them for us. We're proposing to enter into an agreement with him that he will market the products and sell them for a percentage. LS Fields came to propose a funding package for Superior Finance. Superior is growing and needs more capital injected into it to grow the portfolio. He came a couple of times prior with some proposals. We're negotiating the terms and agreements. He will be back, it looks like sometime next week, maybe with a final proposal. So we look forward to hearing from him. As Jamie said, the corporate board voted on bringing the executive director on full time, and we relocated the office out to the treatment center on the bypass. The corporate board approved of opening bank accounts for the River Brew House and Sequoia Sign and Print Company, which is what the account we're going to use for the billboard businesses.
Can I inject something right here for the billboard, for everybody that's not real familiar with that. We've got several locations throughout our, our territory. And the billboard business, this electronic, you see one down here by Research. It spins, so many different advertisements on there. Those are very lucrative. And we've discovered that could be a very profitable business for the corporate board and for our tribe. And so we're proposing to start right here at the old casino building where that one is, on the corner right there by Walmart, with our first one. And we're in agreement with that company right now that's had that lease. And we're trying to get the release from that right now. And so that's why that hadn't moved forward yet. But as I understand, next week we're going to try to get that release signed so we can get that already started. You can put about 16, I believe, advertisers on those per month. And we have a piece of property out here by Woodall. That's a great place for one. You can go out there in the morning and evening, see the cars going to and fro from Muscogee or Fort Gibson. It's amazing. And then we have a real good location in Claremore. We've got properties located throughout the area where I know this is a touchy subject where our smoke shops used to want to be once upon a time. So some of us that remember the smoke shop wars, but we don't even like to bring those up. But anyway, we got some good locations for these. And so we've thought about utilizing those locations for these billboards that'll bring in a lot of dollars. So that's kind of where we are on that.
Yeah, we're running the ODOT reports based on all those locations for traffic count. And then from those numbers, we can determine, the price per month charge for an advertisement on there. And it's looking pretty significant. KCI, Katua Construction, has been awarded the demo bid and the remodel bid for the group of. And they've started demo last week, and they're moving along really fast. They also finished a remodel job that they were awarded for the remodel job in GA, and they've been awarded another bid since. Now, on April 2nd, Bank of Cherokee County came in to talk with members of the corporate board and Superior Funding about the possibility of that bank funding Superior's need. We talked about preliminary details and we answered some questions. They did a little risk assessment, and an offer will be made within the next few days. So Superior is doing well. We're looking at various avenues of funding for them.
Any questions for the
I
young
have a
man?
question. The moving of the office, what was the necessity in that?
I'll answer that. We have,
I'm not done. Hold on 1 second.
well.
What is the
I'd like to-
benefit? What's the benefit? What's the cost?
Okay. We have a lot of traffic coming in and out, and this will give this young man an opportunity to be located in an area where there's not so much, confrontation going on. We got to go right through our lending area. He has meetings with Ford, Michael Barber coming in, and KCI. So this will get him out of that area, and he can be out here. We can concentrate on just business only instead of being involved right in the middle of the daily operations of the lending firm there.
But is your accounting not right there?
Oh, yeah, the accounting's there, and it also saves us some money on space allocation, space allocation. You might pay for that footage there, too.
So what was the cost of moving it, and is it not going to have to move again?
Cost, how much cost was involved from you carrying, what you have to carry from?
I did it for free,
Okay.
but no, there's no incurring cost as of yet. There is, and there's network and internet.
Okay, that was pretty much the uniqueness about the telephone and the computer systems. When we networked it all, you could pick up and go to the next building setup. You had to notify the company regarding that you are moving those. One item I do want to point out is on item number 2 on the report. We've got corporate beer voted for bringing. I think that's corporate board.
That's a typo.
Okay. The next item I have is
I just wanted to add something on the move. You say it's a free move and everything, but didn't we just discuss that we were needing the indirect cost to help our gen fund? And wouldn't that help if you stayed here with the rent? And I mean, wouldn't we be able to get that? And that's just my thought on it. I'm just adding that out there. is we're losing the rent for them if they move out there, just like the assistant chief said. So that's just my thought.
That's if you're funding, we'll use that.
Actually, if
Okay,
you really
thank you.
look at it in
Thank
that fashion, we may have gained an indirect cost as far as we own that other building as well. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes. One other question, KCI, where's it on your revenue space? Is that yet to come, or is that on your revenue? Well, what is KCI line item listed as?
On the, on your financials there, on the revenues, there isn't a KCI on there. We'll have to talk to the treasurer about that and get that clarified.
Okay, thank you.
I did have one more question on that move, okay? I do know that there was maybe a situation brought up where there was a possibility of the office being moved for the reason being that directors had a problem with on Lake Locust being in the offices, and that this would take her from the offices and have her out there. Can anybody explain that to me? I mean, what directors had complained or what was going on with that?
I cannot. But at the same token, if we need to discuss this further, let's do it in a different form. Okay? Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda, we do have, how many directors do we have out there? We have 3. Okay. Would you fill in for, Tish, can you fill in for housing as well? Just, okay. Marquana, and we have Brittany as well. Can you fill in on your department itself? Just where you're at and where you're going? Yeah. Where is your department and yourself? All right, thank you. All right. Who wants to go first? 5 minutes. Now, council, what I've asked in a meeting, and I didn't list that, but soon after the last council meeting, by a recommendation was to meet with the directors and let them know that they had nothing to worry about, that as long as the job was performed and to the best of their ability, we had nothing to worry about. So in addition to, I asked them to come. This starts the quarterly meeting. I know we don't have all of the directors here, but this is a start. So we're going to go forward with that. 5 minutes, and I think we talked about
I don't know if mine will take 5 minutes.
a little bit about your program, the number of served, the number that may or may not have been denied, no names, and where you're going. Okay, thank you.
Okay. I know I haven't met all of you. My name's Christy Kirk, and I'm the director of Childcare. Currently, we just have our one center, which is the Henry Lee Doublehead Child Development Center here on the property. We currently have 45 children enrolled total. We have a early Head Start Childcare partnership, and that is where we get to provide early Head Start services and childcare services. Our classrooms are mixed. We have 5 classrooms right now with 33 children enrolled in the program. And then we also have 1 preschool classroom, which has 2 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and 4-year-olds in there. And we have 12 children enrolled in that classroom. So total, we have 45 kids enrolled. Well, I'm trying to think of what I'm wanting to tell you guys. You guys have my little monthly report that I send out. Now, as far as the CCDF program, which is our subsidy program, and that's where we got our grant from, we're looking to, I sent an email out, I believe it was middle of last month, to all council and the administration. We're looking to start a childcare committee. It's a plan year for us, and I'm not for sure if you guys have ever been asked. I know the previous director, because I've worked at the center for 11 years now, and the previous director, I know that she never invited you guys in to be a part of the plan.
It was just one or two people making the decision for what the tribe did for as far as CCDF, how we spend our CCDF grant. But I'm wanting to include, we're supposed to have a public and tribal input in on this plan. And I'm wanting to have some tribal council members, hopefully some administration. Joyce is the only one I've had right now to say, yes, I can come and be a part of it. So we're wanting to have our first meeting, if I remember off the top of my head, April the 16th, which is a Tuesday. And we're hoping to have a meeting from 1 to 2 in the tribal courthouse or courtroom. And so if anybody wants to be a part of that committee, definitely get in touch with me, and I would love for you to be a part of it. Everything's going good right now. I did want to ask one question though about the Gen Fund situation. Now I'm having a little bit of an opposite. You guys, the tribe has taken $20,000 a month out of our revenues that we get, and we're still paying into IDC and space allocation. And I've been working on this for a little over a year now, and I don't know what you guys know about it, but it's not that we have any troubles giving back to the tribe. This isn't the issue. It's just the amount, because the tribe has taken probably about 90% of our revenue that we take in. And I'm finding that it's kind of hard because I'm wanting to expand. We have a building in Stillwell, and the whole goal for me is I'm wanting to work towards getting at least in key areas in our districts where we can have childcare, where we can offer more services to our people. And I want to get the word out there to our people because our numbers are dwindling as far as who we provide service to. Right now in the center, off the top of my head, I'm thinking we only provide services to about 3 Kituwa families. And that's terrible. It's terrible. I mean, it's a travesty that we are serving the Yonegs and the other tribes more. Off a monthly, I'm thinking who we get from Cherokee Nation. I'm getting probably close to $10,000 a month from Cherokee Nation on child care subsidy because that's how many of their children that we are servicing. And I don't know what the issue is, but I'm wanting to get tribal input on to work towards that because we've got to get our people in there. So
I understand you were.
Wow, I didn't think it was going to take that long.
I understand you're working or was working on a grant to help subsidize your building and build a new building facility over there.
I didn't get the help that I needed, and I think we're going to have to push it off. I was going to allocate $400,000 of our CCDF grant. I think we'll have to, I'll have to get back in touch with them, and we'll have to put it off till next fiscal year. It's still, because there's a lot of stuff that needs to get done from environmentals to, I'm not really, I don't know the first thing about building or anything.
Well, I think that as far as environmentals go, since there is a building there, that would probably, wouldn't have to go through that part of it because all we're doing is tearing that down and building in the same location.
Well, and with our previous executive director, he was pushing us towards just getting an expansion. I'll be honest, I have a stack of kids waiting to get into the center here. And they're not, my issue with it is that they're not the children that their families really need. I have a lot of private pay parents. We've got this.
Well, you've got a good reputation.
Yeah,
people want to come there.
No, we do, and we don't really advertise. We run strictly off of a
you don't have to when you're
reference,
good.
Parent reference. That's what we run off of.
You don't have to advertise when you're good.
No, and I'm really wanting to get something done in Stillwell. I'm a very new director. I've only been director for 2 years, and I'm a teacher.
Right.
And so I'm coming to the other side of it, and I'm still learning as I go. And so if anybody can give me any kind of direction, I'm more than willing to.
Well, you made one point there just a minute ago, and I understood you to say that you're being charged in space allocation too. And I'm not.
Yes, we're paying into IDC. We're paying into space allocation.
I understand that part of IDC because that's off. You get off of all our federal programs, but the space allocation, I was under the impression you didn't pay that because you had your own
maintenance
and people up there. But no, I'm not disputing what you're saying. I'm just saying I'd like to see, if you are being paid that because you have a valid point there. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, I've got reports and I can totally
excellent report. Thank you for that. the thing is, before, we
I didn't
have
get
some
to
other
take any
folks to go,
questions,
and
sorry.
we have some other folks to go, and on behalf of the council and the tribal members, we certainly appreciate what you're doing. We're terribly sorry about the inappropriate revenue
Well, I just
portion,
want to say one last thing.
we're in a pretty dire situation at this time.
Exactly.
We will
And I
have
would
the
like to
opportunity.
help wherever I
We
could.
will, we will have the opportunity to review that next Saturday as well. So,
I didn't get the email that you're talking about,
Yeah.
so I need to talk to you about I hardly ever get emails because
Okay.
somehow my, if it's a tribal email that you send it to, I didn't get it.
if you would please,
I've done
make
that.
sure she
Okay,
gets
I
your
haven't done it
email.
with you, but I've
Right.
asked everybody else that does emails, and I still very rarely get them.
Could I get with you to get
Yes.
the proper email addresses?
You bet. Thank you.
Okay.
Half time she doesn't really understand which one that it goes to either.
Okay, all right, I will
Okay.
fix that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Rhodes.
I still don't have to, UKB either. Yeah, I have laptop.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I needed 3 resolutions as well. Can I do that right now?
Yeah, Tony is up here, and if you'll see the paper that I gave you that shows item number 2, the roads, transportation, and she would actually be under new business. But at this time, the 3, the A, B, and C is the ones that she's wanting approval for.
I read those, and I think we need to approve those. The drainage, we probably should approve all 3 of them.
You're gonna have a blanket vote for all 3.
Separate resolutions or?
Yeah, I need separate resolutions, but you can do it all together.
Okay, at the new business, we can take care of that?
That's what we'll vote on, but we can go ahead and do the report.
Okay. So I'm Tony Workman. I'm Director of the Transportation, Transit, and Construction. And I sent in my council report to you guys. So as far as transportation is the roads department. Right now, let's see, we have Louis Griffin Circle project going on, which also includes the parking lot for the museum. And we're looking at also including the parking lot expansion for the childcare center. So we are working on a project package right now to submit to the Bureau for them to review. They don't have to approve it, they just need a package to review before we can put it out for bids. And we are hoping to have that done by next month, the bids released. So that's what's going on with roads. We just submitted 4 new routes for our inventory, and that includes housing was looking at doing 2 different housing additions, one in Stillwell and one in Tahlequah. So we added routes for those to include to the roads going to the addition and then roads inside the addition. I'm calling it an addition. I don't know exactly what they're planning on doing there. As far as transit goes, we had received a grant to buy 3 new buses. So we will be doing that pretty quickly. According to the report, we served 478 people, and only 10 of those were UKB. And as far as construction, we don't have any construction going on right now. As soon as we finish the museum's parking lot, we can close out the museum's project with HUD, and that's all we got going until we're awarded another one. Question?
Yeah, I got a couple. As my inquiring mind usually comes up with some. We have this transit business, and I've noticed that, and this is just some ideas, but I see our competitors, they're out early, taking people to and fro to work and back and forth. Is there any reason why we couldn't start earlier to get that kind of, maybe get more of that business? I know we're going to get some new buses, and what I'd like to see is let's compete and get out there, earlier and get the people that wants to ride to work. And maybe that would increase some of our revenue. And if we had to, and then work later, maybe we have to have two shifts, two part-time shifts or something. I know money's a situation with you. But these are some thoughts that I've seen. I've noticed that our competitors are out, and I've even seen them later in the evening taking people to and fro. And so that was just one of my questions. Now, another one, I have been working. I went to one of those conferences, T-TAP, I believe it is, something to that effect. And they had Kenwood had a Christmas parade during the Christmas time. It was well attended, but they noticed they didn't have a lot of lighting down there, so it was brought to my attention. And the county commissioner in that district over there asked me if we would be interested in maybe working, with them in conjunction, maybe to help put some street lights. And I said, let me investigate that. So when I went to this conference, I have some questions I brought up, and it appears that through a safety grant that can be accomplished. And so but it has to be through our transportation department. And so I think I'd mentioned this to you earlier, but I've been in talking with the county commissioner recently, and we need to get data and all this stuff. I'm not, as well endowed as you are on this kind of stuff. So I'd like to move forward on that if we could. I'd like to see some street lights and maybe some sidewalks at Kenwood. And I know it probably can't happen before this Christmas, but maybe next Christmas if we set a goal or something. And I'd like to get with you and see. The county commissioner said they would be glad to help too. So it's a government to government type of relationship. Does that make any sense what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay.
I also agree with Assistant Chief that my dad used to drive the CATS bus, and he would start his route like 3 a.m. and he would work his 8 hours, but he had the dialysis patients. So he would take them, and some of them start at 4, 5 a.m. And so he would go and pick them up in the outer line areas. So you might consider what the assistant chief is talking about, maybe possibly doing some shifts like that. And,
Well, I just saw that
provide-
happening,
yeah.
and I was curious.
Yeah,
That's why I
exactly.
maybe add that to our process.
All right, thank you for that. We can work that out a little bit later, can we not? Good. Yep.
As far as the earlier shifts, we did do earlier shifts before. We started at 7 and then we ended at 6, but it wasn't feasible enough for us to continue doing it. And then as far as, we've only got, let's see, 1 driver in Stillwell, and then we have 2 part-time drivers in Tahlequah and the dispatcher. So we can't stretch our time much farther than we already have.
It's funding.
Mhm.
We've all got funding.
Yeah.
Make use of it.
I think Ellen may have something.
Tony, I have a question. It's on a totally different subject, though. The Forest Department have invited all of the council members to go to Tellico Plains, Tennessee, where the Trail of Tears is. And that's on June 21, 22, and 23. Is that right, Karen?
In June? No, it's on Monday.
Well, that'll be great because they're having a historic day on that Saturday.
Right.
They're wanting like the council to turn out on that Saturday for these activities. So that'd be awesome. if
Yeah.
they want to go up on Saturday to skate and the council to start on Monday.
But anyway, they've invited us, but it's all on our own. We have to pay for it and everything. So, and they want to take us on the trail to walk the actual trail and also to go to Fort Armistead. Fort Armistead they found, and they want to talk with us and show us that area, where it was the last holding place for the Cherokees and all tribes that lived on the Trail of Tears. So anyway, my question to you is, do you have an extra transit bus you could loan us?
I have 2 you can have.
And they run?
One of them does
Good.
run. One of them runs, the doors are broken on it, and the wheelchair lift is broken. The other one needs a new transmission. But I've brought that up before, but if the tribe wants those 2 vans, well, yeah, then they can have them.
Oh,
Because we need to clear out our lot to bring in our new vans, and they're just sitting there.
okay. And one, you said the door is broken?
Yeah, it's just something in the little pulley thing that you do, doesn't work. Yeah.
Is that the
You
same
can go
one
out
with
the
the
back door
wheelchair
too.
lift though? Is
Do
that
what?
the
That
same one with
sounds the
wheelchair
easiest
lift
to
that's
me.
broken?
They both have wheelchair lifts, and I can't remember which one that it's broken. They just need maintenance, but we took them out of our fleet, so we're not going to put any more money into them.
Okay. So that might be an answer too. So anyway, that's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning. Each of you have my monthly report showing the total assistance that was provided through my departments. Through Health and Human Services, we administer LIHEAP, which is our energy assistance program. We have entered into the summer months, so now it will be cooling costs as well as air conditioning for our elders. We also administer the General Assistance Program, which is our monthly assistance to members in need of financial assistance while they are waiting on disability or job searches. We also administer our medical out of motor fuels, which helps with gas to doctor's appointments, prescription costs. Out of social welfare, we also assist with burial costs, and motor fuel supplements our burial costs as well. We administer the CSBG, which is for community block grants. So that assists with an extra utility payment if they've already utilized their LIHEAP. We also I budgeted this year to help that with our food bank, as well as trying to help some of our homeless members out of that, as well as trying to help with education costs out of CSBG. We have the opioid program out of Health and Human Services that is starting up and doing really well publicity-wise. We are waiting for our actual members to start scheduling appointments. The numbers are out for them to to call in and schedule an appointment and do an assessment. We are waiting on an award letter from OVC. We made it through the first 2 stages for the grant application. So now we're just waiting to see if we were funded for the $720,000 to help victims of crime. Off the top of my head, FIPSA, we have a FIPSA program, which is our family violence program, which again is on the new business to have another resolution for, because the application for that program needs to be submitted so that we can continue funding for the family violence program.
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
The opioid program thing, you said you're waiting for people to
Yes,
start coming in and taking advantage. Is this a doctor referral thing, or do they have to be referred, or they just come in themselves and?
No, we will take referrals, self-referrals, doctor referrals, any type of referrals. What we're looking at and I included the grant in your packet so that you can read it and look at how we are looking at doing this opioid program. I'm really excited. I've asked the Dr. Byers to be here next month. He couldn't do it this month to do a formal presentation on the program. But I'm really excited because we're looking at treating addiction in a holistic manner. So we're going to be looking at mental health as well as addiction, as well as tying them back to their culture. And one of the things that we've seen is a lot tying back to the culture and having that support can have an effect on how successful you are with your addiction process. We will also be providing services to the family. So let's say my brother is an addict and I am struggling with his addiction. This program will see me to help me process what the stages of recovery looks like, what the stages of addiction looks like, and as a family member, what I can do to help support to try to get my family member on the path to addressing their addiction as well. We have a chiropractor that wants to contract with us because he has had success in treating back pain and alleviating the opioid use and addiction with chiropractic practices. So we will take referrals for that program, self-referrals, hospital, mental health. I did a presentation Wednesday with Creoaks and Tahlequah Public Schools as to let them know that we're ready to go. We are ready to see members and start addressing this addiction in our communities. Thank you.
We're doing the YCC kits again this year, and we're needing 8 youth between 16 to 20. YCC conservation force. They work for the force. Well, they look for us. And we need 2 youth leaders that are 21 or older. We're really going to be the UKB. Anybody, I guess, can apply. Like Muscogee Nation, I guess, can apply. But we're preference, they're going to be the first person. Because we're not sure how many people are actually going to be applying. It's going to be starting June the 2nd, I believe. This is on Saturday. It will end on June 29th. They'll be staying and they'll be working on the Turkey National Forest. And they'll probably be staying at a university in Cleveland, Tennessee. So if you can get your youth, get that word out, because we want our youth to experience it. We've done that 2 years in a row this year, third year. So to get experience, they get paid. We're still working on local business, so they're going to get paid. But it's a good opportunity for these kids. And also, later on, they get, I don't know if it's a certificate, they get something from the Forest Service that may even help them later on if they do something with the Forest Service, to get like a government job. It helps them later on.
Right.
Is there you said there's an application process for this trip?
Yeah, we just
okay.
regular
Are you-
applications that they apply with us.
Are you going to put a flyer out like you did
I am.
last year?
As we
Yeah.
find out like what we're paying and all that.
Okay.
kind of stuff.
We need to, we had an issue last year. We had an issue last year that some of our children wasn't exclusive. One signed up and he never knew he was
Right.
he got signed up at grade school as a CNO member. And when in all these years, he never knew he was, because they don't get a card until they're 21. So there's an issue with that. So make sure that some of our youth, I guess, are familiar that they may be possibly enrolled at CNO because of their grade schools that put them in there years ago.
Last year, we didn't have enough participants that were actually too much participants.
Well, we know one student, you know
Yeah,
what I'm talking
yeah,
about. He got kicked out because he wasn't exclusive and he thought he was.
If we get 10 exclusive UKBs, that's going to be our top. They'll be our top. If we get some that's Cherokee Nation, because they need 10 people. They need 8 youth and 2 youth. So just make sure you take it to your people. And that's got to be at what age? 16 to 20 for the youth, 21 or older for the youth. Make sure you get out in the community.
Okay, thank you. All right, council.
May it's gonna be that first Friday. What's that?
Did Jennifer leave? Does anybody know, did Jennifer leave? Okay.
May 3rd would be the deadline for the application on Friday. We are. We're gonna get with you
Yeah, if you make up a flyer and put it on Facebook also, a lot of people
Yeah.
see things on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Oh, okay.
And we don't know how many, we have to make all those reasons on the finances and all that. They just said that we might be able to get free, housing.
Oh,
We
wow,
don't
that'd be
know that
great.
yet.
Yeah.
If we get free housing, then we
Mhm.
The
Right.
deadline date, May the
Third.
May third, yeah. Just have them fill out the regular, those little applications, we got the 2 keys.
Okay.
You need to make copies of 10,
Mhm.
but, you can bring them, and they look like this, they've got DOB and UKB is in. So, those are, yeah.
Okay.
If they want to know where to, turn in the applications, they can either give them back to you all if they need to, or they could, just mail it into us.
Okay.
That's the Historic Preservation Office, okay.
Yeah, historic preservation, they, put licensing on there.
Okay. All right, that's it.
I had a question for
poses-
Jennifer if whenever she comes back, but we can go ahead and move on with the next one. And
Yeah.
if you don't mind, I kind of want to pull her back up and ask her something about her report when she comes back in. It just kind of like rang in my mind real
Okay.
quick.
Next.
Good afternoon. No, it's still morning. It's like, wait a minute. I emailed council a report, and I said I wasn't doing necessarily a report on details. I have 5 grants. Actually, I got one off April 1st for Della, the basic IMLS grant. So now I'm down to working with EPA and the GAP program, and L. Dean Stevens and the interim Aaron Thompson on the EPA GAP program. So I got that going. I'm also working on 2 USDA grants right now. And then I also have Light Horse wants me to look at their SORNA grant because that grant is ending and they're wanting me to apply for that grant right now. So those are all the ones this week and next week that I'll be working on. But I sent you guys a report. I don't know if everybody got that email. I just sent to the emails that I have. I don't know. Did you get that email, Peggy? I sent it to Peggy, or maybe it was Peggy Flute. I can't remember off the top of my head. Okay. But basically it was just an overview of funding and grants and kind of how the grants department plays a role in, okay. Basically how the grants play a role in the tribal operations and that sort of thing. It's me, and I do everything from the start of the grant to the end of it. And right now I'm actually working on one that I'm trying to like shake off and be like, get away from me. Because I'm getting into the compliance and making sure the reporting and everything. And that's not necessarily what I was hired to do, is all that additional stuff. So if you guys have questions for me, I'm going to use this time to answer questions. If there's something specific you want to ask about, anything.
Yes, you and I have already had some discussions about, the audit, the first audit, and how dependent that is for a lot of these grants. Because a lot of these grants have deadlines, and this has to be approved by council. At some point in time, we really need to look into this, because I've also looked up a lot of these grants, and some of them, if we don't get them this time around, we may never get that chance to get them again. And we're going to lose a lot of money for the tribe if we don't get on this. And that's why, to me, it's very important to get to this budget and figure out where we're at. We're also looking at, when I first came into this tribe, basically it's being supported by grant money. And I know they were looking towards the tower money, the cell tower money is what was being used as in-house money. And when we lost that, that's why it's really important we look into this. But that was my question for you. And I know you and I have had some discussions already about a lot of these grants. And that was my biggest concern, because at some point in time, if we ever get past a lot of the stuff that we're dealing with, a lot of what I consider, I realize that to most of you that, have these issues, they are important. And we do have to get organized and line our ducks up in a row, get our finances in order to get this tribe on its feet, to incorporate a lot of the programs that I would like to see started, some of the positive things, for this tribe. And just say, I look at how uneducated sometimes our people are. And I'm not being derogatory when I say this. I was talking to a young man yesterday that came from a single mom. He said his mom worked hard his whole life so that he could get an education. He is Katua, and he's very educated, extremely intelligent. And I'm so proud of him, that. And I would like to see this next generation, and I'd like to see some programs. And this program that we're starting with Bacone is a really good program. But to get back to these grants, and Marquana is a one-man team, and I got to hand it to her. She does a lot.
One woman.
One woman team. But she really stays on top of things, and I have a lot of respect for that. And I have a lot of respect for a lot of the employees that are just hanging in there with, what they can do. But anything that we can do to support you, let us know, and we will work on it. As for me, myself, speaking for myself.
I appreciate you guys always taking time to ask questions and that sort of thing. I think what Sharon is talking about is everything plays off of, it's like a link when it comes to these federal programs and the grants and that sort of thing. We're talking about IDC and we're talking about audits. Well, until you get that audit, you don't get the IDC rate. And you've got to have the IDC rate in order to funnel to your gen fund. And so you guys, that audit and the next audit that's due June 30th, you guys are going to have to bust your humps and start getting that stuff in order. And that's just because the grants departments, they have to be compliant and they have to report and say, yeah, we're spending this money the way we said we would spend it in this grant. And so they go back and they report to their agency. And then, that determines whether or not we're going to continue with receiving funding. It's like a report card. And they look at that and they want to know, are you guys doing what you're supposed to be doing with these grant funds? And, that's where the audit is kind of like that final test just to make sure. So if you guys have questions, I'm there. I'm part-time, but you guys can email me. If you guys want my personal cell phone number, I'll be glad to give that to you as well. And just stop by. I'm there most of the time, not all the time, but I'm there most of the time. But you can get in contact with me.
Did you receive my email the other day about the Alzheimer's?
Yeah, I did see that. I think that came out, and that would be basically looking at if we wanted to start a program with that. And I'm not an expert in any of these fields. Let me say that. When I write a grant, I get to learn so much about what these great directors are out there doing with those programs. And you guys should be really, really proud of them because they're growing those departments. They're bringing in the funds. They're bringing in the ideas. They're planting that seed so we can water and we can grow. And it's tough because you've got to have a vision. You've got to be able to think and plan out every single part of that before that grant agency is going to give it to you. So as far as the Alzheimer's, if there's a need for it, if we can get together and talk about it. Council, you guys were included in that email. I suggest you guys start using the communication systems that we have. I know it's tough when, you got email and you got text and you got social media and all this and that, but use it as a tool. Use it as a tool and a time to learn because we spend a lot of money with our technology system for this campus or for the tribe. I suggest that we start learning it and we start using it because if we're going to put money in someone's pocket, we need to get our money's worth. That's the way I see it. But if you guys have questions, email me, call me, come by, rattle me. This one, always come by shaking my hand. So thank you.
I just had a question about your report.
Yes, ma'am.
And the way that your services and stuff are broken down.
Yes.
Do you have actual numbers as to like a UKB and non-UKB that are assisted?
I can break it down. I can
Yeah.
start breaking them down for you if you would like.
Yeah, I think that would be appropriate, especially for the business that you're in,
Okay.
because I think we really need to concentrate and look and see if our federal dollars are going toward our actual members or to non-members.
Yeah, and for clarification on LIHEAP and FIPSA, we agreed when we took the money that those grants will help, LIHEAP particularly, will help any member of any federally recognized tribe.
Okay, but we have a UKB preference though, correct?
Yes, there
Okay.
has not been a UKB member denied out of LIHEAP over a non-member.
Okay.
And so we accepted that term when we took the money from LIHEAP. The caveat is with Cherokee Nation particularly, we are in contact with Cherokee Nation to make sure that they have not utilized our program and their program, because that is double dipping.
Yeah.
So as far as the FIPSA funding, that is open to any member or any person experiencing family violence in their home. So we do have a preference, of course, and I have spoke to some UKB members to try to assist them out of that program, but that is open to any victim of family violence.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you
You're
for that
welcome.
clarification.
I'd like to thank my bosses for putting me on the spot. Now, Nancy told me that she has given the report to Frankie.
Okay.
Okay.
That'd be good. You can go over, it. Yes. Verbal, please. Okay, well, if that's what you want to do as far as that goes, we have the report. Okay, all right, well, hey, council, we have the report. If that's all right with you, we'll go to the next one. Okay. All right, thank you. Let's give housing a big hand.
We want to say something about the housing department. They are doing a good job. I mean, they're really assisting a lot of people, and that's what it's about. You gotta help
3 houses going right now.
I seen they had a opening. What is that? Okay. So did somebody leave though, or is it just a new position open? Okay. Okay.
Oh, I don't know about that. No, that's one I think.
Yeah. It just came out. It just came out on the email, and I was just wondering if somebody had left, or
No,
if it was a new position just open.
It's somebody that's going. It's going to somebody that has a lot of experience. Is what it's going to
This
require.
one that we just brought back,
Mhm.
her name is Felicia Hildebrandt. She used to work for housing back in 03. She was with them up until 2012, and then she went to work for BIA. And then we got her opening, and someone said she was looking. She actually lives in Tulsa and drives from Tulsa to here. But
Good.
she's
Very
very
good.
good. Became a very good asset to our department.
She's a big asset to our
And
department.
she's-
She understands the
yeah.
numbers probably as well
And
as
she
anybody
works
in the country.
with, housing there with the BIA, and she also worked with Diane Job, who we work with, and so she's really been helping us getting everything if we're missing something. So she's really good, and so we thought you were talking about the internal job that they currently.
Yeah, I think that's what I just seen it come out. It was just like posted
Mhm.
too, and
Yeah.
that's what I was just wondering if somebody had left. Though
It's
that's what I was just like. Yeah.
It's the construction manager. It's an old position, and I guess after working with everything, they looked at they're going to open it in-house. And it's
We're
gonna-
getting so busy. We're going to need someone with that talent and that
Oh,
skill
yeah.
set.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
to
just
go-
added.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I was asking. Just
Because if you looked on your report, we have elder homes. We have like 3 fixing to go up. We have 2 almost complete. So, and the rehabs, we are really have so many rehabs, full rehabs. We just, like the guy said earlier, we had one at J, and then we also have others that are getting done. If y'all ever get a chance to go down Salad Bowl, look at Buzzy Sony's house. They really did a tremendous job on that. It was a really good project.
Mansion in the hall.
Yeah.
Mansion in the hall.
Hello, Council. My name is Brittany Bennett. I'm the media director, just for people who are watching. I'm sorry I did not submit a physical report. I will be the first to point out I'm the only one in my department, so that kind of gets a little crazy sometimes. I will try to do better next month. I did write some notes back there, though. I started here back in, I believe it was July. Since then, our Facebook has grown to almost a full 1,000 likes since I've been here. So that's probably about 8 or 9 months. So social's looking great. We have made an Instagram account. That was not something I believe the tribe had ever done before. We have crossed over 500 followers as of yesterday. So we have 503. My personal efforts for publicity for the tribe recently, Ernestine had the Missing Pieces exhibit that came out. I worked with quite a few people, just trying to publicize it, get the word out. We did some lives there, lots of sneak peek pictures. Public responded really well to that. For the opioid program, I worked with the Telequa Daily Press. We coordinated a story that came out, that got a lot of traction on their page. That was a great thing for us. It is also in the April edition of the newspaper, which unfortunately has not been able to go out yet. I will address that. For those of you who don't know, and Rick and I have kind of discussed this. Rick is our IT guy from Dating Zone. He gets a lot of comments about the website. Part of the problem that we're having is the KatuaCherokee.org website is still up and is still running. We are not in commission of that site anymore. I did have him look into that for me. Believe Dynadot out in Tulsa owns that domain now, and they have cut communication off with him about trying to purchase it or forward it to our new website. So if you Google us, it's the first thing that comes up, unfortunately. And part of the problem with that is all the numbers are old, all the links to anything are going to be broken. And we've tried to publicize that out to tribal members. You know, our official website is the ukb-nsn.gov. They decided to make that change before I came on. It's a Wix website. And part of the problem is we just can't get the company to communicate with us. And so we can't buy that domain back at this point. I don't know who the administrator over it is. The company won't release that information to us. It's like a privacy issue. So Rick and I are kind of going back and forth how we want to approach this next.
Have you asked our AG about how to break that?
I have not approached him yet. I'm trying to go through Rick because I know, Clint's got a lot going on as well. But that is on my list as a possible plan B if we have to move into litigation with somebody.
Yeah, that was why I asked, because it could be a legal issue.
And I'm aware, as a tribal government, we're not just any old entity out there on the web. We're an officially federally recognized tribe. So at this point, I'm trying to go through as many channels as I can before I have to turn it over to a possible litigation issue. We haven't quite got to that step yet. We're still trying to do a few things beforehand. But, if the company continues not to speak with us, that's kind of probably where it's headed.
What'd you say the name of that was? I know I've had a lot of people say, well, your website is old, and so they're obviously getting that one.
They're getting the old one.
What's that called?
It's KatuaCherokee.org. We did manage to get the website. If you put in KatuaCherokee.com, that will forward to our website. But the .org will not.
Okay.
And that's what actually comes up in the Google search. So I've been kind of going back and forth with him on that. So that's kind of been a big thing for me lately. Also, a few things that I've done. We're going to try to get a newspaper rack in Hastings. I did get approved for that. So as soon as I can hop on over there, put a rack in, it'll be in the pharmacy. So it'll go right by the Cherokee Phoenix newspaper rack. So hopefully we can get more people reading us, Katuas who maybe aren't on the list, or just people in the general public, kind of get us more out there. So we're doing that as well.
The other night, we asked about or we talked about the mailing, the expense.
Yes.
So are we still on, do we have to decide to cut that, or can we just do it? Can
That-
she just do that?
I mean, that'll be up to you guys. I don't know if we want to go over that in the budget meeting that we have planned. I mean, I've made it known. I don't think right now with the current financial situation that we're feasible to keep printing every month. I have come up with a few solutions to that. If we wanted to possibly stop the mailing list, which I know is a big deal. I'm not unaware of that. But possibly stop mailing out and then maybe just get the printer to do, maybe 400 or 500 copies. Put some here in the Elder Center. Obviously some in the newspaper racks, and then possibly distribute some out to counselors. That way you can just take it straight to your district.
I will do that in my district.
Okay. I mean, that's really the only cost feasible way I see at this point going forward. And the problem too that we have with mailing out is, we get cards back, if somebody's moved or if they've passed away. So sometimes, we're spending, I want to say it's so many cents a card even just to get it back for the return mail processing. So I can change it there, but if members haven't left a forwarding address, or if they just haven't contacted me and let me know to update, it just keeps going.
In our discussion the other night at the budget meeting, we said that just to cut it out would be the only way to take care of that.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I inherited that list from the previous media director, and I get lots of calls just about people saying, "Oh, my name is spelled wrong," or "That's not even my name." So I think the list itself has issues. I haven't really come up with a feasible solution, to keep everybody on the list unless they're just reaching out to me individually, which is a big job. It'd be a full-time job somewhere else just to keep up with that list.
Do any of them come back to newspaper itself?
No, none of the newspapers themselves come back, but I do get the card saying, change service requested, that kind of thing. So I think the post office just deals with that internally.
I have a question. That has been an ongoing problem from the beginning. I'm sorry, my voice is wobbly. I have a throat cold.
I was just nervous. So.
I've asked for an updated list, and everybody keeps telling me there is not an updated list of the Katuas that are enrolled. And at some point in time, we need to figure out how to put one together. And if not for even, with this is costly sometimes mailing these out to, and we heard her report the other night in the budget thing. But if somebody can come up with a solution,
I think we may have a solution.
Get one from Joyce.
I may have a solution in making here. We've had tribal members, countless tribal members, has had problems getting their medication due to our tribal membership card. And you may know some people that have. If you have, then I've been working on a solution with the Oklahoma Narcotics Board and the Oklahoma Pharmacy Board, because I think Counselor from the Delaware District had an issue just last month. And so I went to work diligently on this with the Oklahoma Pharmacy Board and the Oklahoma Board of Narcotics, and I've been in contact, and I think we have found a solution. Our card does not have an expiration date on it. That's been the problem. The ones that they're approving right now have expiration dates on them. This is not something that just been our problem, but it's been other tribes' problems as well. There's been new laws that's been passed. International Drug, DEA, and all these combined agencies have, and what they're trying to do is to ensure, they say, that the right people are getting their medication. And I said, well, right now it doesn't make sense, not very safe, because my people can go over and get somebody they don't even know that has Oklahoma driver's license, come over and get their medication. That's not safety. Or if they knocked them in the head, took their medication, and go sold it. So we've reached, I believe, tentatively a solution that if we put our expiration date on our cards, and what'll have to happen then is we'll have to issue all new enrollment cards for everybody that's enrolled. So that being said, with a new card, they're going to have to come in and get a new picture, a new card with a date on it, and then we can be able to check their exclusivity at that point right there. That's another issue they're working on right now because the Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma's card has indefinite on it. That's what I'm asking. And I just got off the phone with the guy, the gentleman, the chief agent of Oklahoma Board of Narcotics. He said that he's not satisfied with that, but I said, well, we don't want to be discriminated against because if you're going to allow one tribe to do it, then you should allow our tribe. And he said that they were definitely going to, they're looking into that. Everybody will be on the same playing field. Go ahead. Good point.
As an added measure, maybe every 4 years, this card turns over, and at that point, at least we'd have an update every 4 years. And that's an interesting issue because while we have it on Windstream and things of this nature, it's tribal members' responsibilities to upgrade their addresses. And as you all know, we all know, I'm guilty of it, you're guilty of it. Sometimes we don't do that. And that's why we're in the predicament we are. But the added of the expiration date will make it mandatory you come in and update and go from there. So if it's every 4 years, so be it.
I would suggest lifetime of that individual, or unless they relinquish.
We went lifetime though, then it wouldn't be monitored like we're talking about. Where they would come in and we would be in the same boat because right now our cards are lifetime right now. So what he's saying is every
like
4
he
years,
said,
it would just
Turkey
be
Nation says indefinite.
Yeah, but
Ours would say lifetime or relinquishment.
I think we can recommend what we'd like to do, but what's going to happen is what the Oklahoma Narcotics Board and the Oklahoma Pharmacy Board, when they get in line, they're going to dictate to every tribe what they have to do, is what I understand in conversations I've been having with them.
So there's just a little more to go.
It may
with
be
this
like
as
Joanne.
well. Excellent idea with the grant to come back and look at that for the updated IDs and so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what,
all right.
Like I said, on the point was, every 4 years they come in, they're updated, they know, because, we have people right now that have cards that are dual enrolled. They came in and they're lifetime cards right now and they're dual enrolled. That's the problem that we're having. So if we go every 4 years, then they're updated. We know, just like assistant and the chief has said.
Additionally, what happens beyond that as far as it goes, at the expiration of that, does that mean they're gone forever? So there are some things we got to look at as well. So yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I did want to let you know our subscriber numbers are sitting at 2,620. I do order a little bit more than that, and that's just for the newspaper racks. So, our front offices, we're going to start putting them in Hastings, that sort of thing. I am spending probably a whole day on those. When a new newspaper goes out, I get those back, and then it's just a constant process. It'd be a full-time job somewhere else. So that's just something else I wanted to note to you. Obviously, I don't want to stop serving our tribal members, but I just don't know if it's feasible in this manner with the staff that I have. I'm the staff. So also some other things I wanted to note. I have started implementing new flyers for our job positions. Before I was just kind of linking to our page and having people, depending on them to go and read the description, that sort of thing. Now I'm kind of just putting it in a graphic so people can just click and they can see it all there. At that point, if they want to take that extra step and they can go and apply, then they can click a link. So I'm doing that as well. I also, for my department, this past month, helped Chief Bunch with the State of the Community address that was given at NSU, I believe. And that was like a 10 presentation slide. I'm happy to send it to council as well. It was kind of an overview of our 2018 and kind of where we're going into our 2019. Took a little bit more time than I had planned, but the numbers in there are really good. Kind of gives you an overview of a lot of departments. Kind of where we're headed with grants, that sort of thing. The last item I want to address is a very big thing, and that's our newspaper transparency. So beforehand, when we had an EDTO position, that was who I answered to as boss, and there was no, permission that I needed before I sent the paper off to the printer. It was just kind of, I went through all the processes, the paper was done, I sent it off to Stigler, they printed it, came back. I have been approached by Chief Bunch to start sending it off to him for approval before it goes to the printer. So this month I sent it not only to Chief Bunch, but to you, the council. I asked for your input. I asked you to look at it. I asked you to read it. There was some questions about some council stories that were in the paper. The biggest issue was what I look at as public reporting of news. We're looking at, just as this council meeting will be reported in our newspaper. Any big things that happen, anything tribal members should know about. And unfortunately, that includes any time a member's or an employee is removed. I feel like that is a transparent way of conducting business. I feel that to take that out of the paper, as I was asked to do, is not being truthful to our tribal members. We're not showing the current state we're in. I want to tell our tribe like it is, not how we wish to dress it up as. So at this point, I'm kind of deferring to council how to handle this issue. I have not sent the paper off to the printer yet. It's been done since Tuesday, so that's kind of the reason for the delay. And then this past month, I also had the flu, so that kind of put us back about a week. So it's just kind of sitting in my inbox. The printers asked, if we're still printing, what kind of plans we have going forward. So I've kind of let them know the situation a little bit. Basically, I'm kind of stuck until I get some kind of direction. I didn't get that many responses from my email. I did want to thank, Treasurer Worley and Councilor Tidwell and Jeff, for chiming in. I think this is an important issue. I don't know if we've ever had any oversight of the paper in the past. I don't know if there's any resolutions that say it has to go through approval from someone. I'm willing to kind of create a code of ethics with the council. We can go hand in hand with it. But at this point, I just let Chief know I didn't agree, and I wanted to send the paper off as is. I sent this out on last Tuesday morning. I will say, if you're not getting my emails, I send them to the council catch-all. So I assume that when I put that in, it's going to all of council. So I apologize for that. I can send that to you. I'm happy to do that after this meeting's over. It was a 8-pager, which is, not deviating anything from the past 3 or 4 months, that we've done it. And like I said, the issue was with the council reportings. So I'm open to any discussion on this topic.
I believe that and don't get me wrong, Chief, I ain't saying anything bad about you, but for him to ask for you to turn that in for oversight or his approval first, I believe that would be suppression. And I don't think that should occur. She's the media person. She knows where to draw the line. She knows the laws about what it is that she's doing. And I don't think that we should suppress her in any way. I think we should encourage her. I think that the paper that she's trying to get printed right now, she's got it set up beautifully. It's attractive, and people are going to want to read it. And that's what we want.
And my point also on that was it didn't go into much detail at all on so I mean, I read it and it didn't cover like details of actually specifics of why the removal or anything like that.
Yeah,
it just said that it was
forum.
yeah. So it was just like you said, it was everything that was discussed out in the open. So it didn't go in and discuss anything other than that. So I didn't see any problem with it, and that's what on the other hand, I don't think he really stated that he did not want it printed. He just said that he wanted to make sure we wasn't breaking any legalities due to the fact that it was a personnel
but
issue.
he did use the word replace.
Yeah.
So that's where I had the main issue. The word replace was used. To me, our Constitution, it guarantees a freedom of press.
Yeah, freedom of press, freedom of expression.
So that's what alarmed me. Yes. That's what alarmed me most about this issue. Like I said, I'm willing to work with council. We don't have to, just defer to the media director every time. We could create a code of ethics together. We can draw a line together. Is what I'm basically saying that can happen. I have no problem with that. The only issue that I have is basically being asked behind closed doors to take something out and keep our tribal members in the dark.
Well, I think you did it a good way because you sent it to the council anyway. So
Mhm.
that was good. And that way we can make comments if we need to. I didn't see anything wrong with it either. That's why I said no changes necessary. So
I saw it. Oh, I'm sorry. I saw it as professionally written, and I appreciate it. So I have no problems with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Like he said, I agree with what he said about it being just summarized. It didn't go into details, and that's what we don't want because we don't want any legal issues.
Yes, I'm
to develop
PR here
from it.
as well as
Yes.
our journalism, so I,
Right.
I understand that
Mhm.
very well.
Right. Mhm. I agree. Yeah.
So my big question going forward is, how do I handle, the April paper? Do I send it on for approval? Are we good there? What's the next? Do I have an approval process for May paper? How does this work going forward?
I vote to go ahead and print it.
I don't think that we should put her on any stipulations. I think we should give her the fair room that she needs as the PR person and let her make those choices, because if something does come back and happen, she's the one going to have to answer for it. So she knows what she's doing. I have confidence in her.
Thank you.
Okay, let me ask this question. When you said that before we had a travel operations person, what was his role in the newspaper? Did he?
Basically, he was just my supervisor, so he was my
Okay, so
boss.
he didn't have to say.
No,
that
he
person didn't
never
have to
went through
say.
an approval process
Okay.
with me. We basically sat down when I first started, and I told him, this is the way I want to do the paper. I want to conduct it professionally. I'm confident in my skills and my ability. I feel like we can have a good paper just as much as we can. The one feather or the Cherokee Phoenix. At that point, that's pretty much all we discussed. I never had to run it by him. I never really sent it to him for approval before it went to the printer. It was just understood that, I knew my place and I knew where the line was, and I didn't go over it.
I believe this young lady is very competent in her skill set that she brings to our tribe, and I'm very proud of her. She's a Katuwa, and she's been performing in her director, and she's a one-man show, or one-lady show, I'm sorry. But I think she's very confident and competent in what she does, and I tell you something. Our Constitution doesn't allow this council to set and micromanage our directors. And so I feel like that she has the ability that we hired her to do, so I say let her work.
Show of hands, council. Let her print the paper for April.
Before you do that, let me just add one comment to that. Yes, I did ask. I did review that. And I think it's a good idea. It's what she did, turned around and gave it to the whole council. And I'm glad you were wanting to vote on this. No doubt about it. But for me, what I see was the glorification of the removal. And I didn't like that. So having said that, keep that in mind. If you can, though, move that off the front page. Move it to the back page.
I still don't feel that that's transparent if I'm doing so.
That's being transparent. Let's throw an announcement.
I have one thing to say. Can I say what I gotta say? We are covered by the Constitution of the United States for freedom of press. And I really believe that as far as this council goes, in regards to you, you have a lot of integrity, you have a lot of intelligence, and I have a lot of respect for that. So with that said, as far as I'm concerned, when you put the paper together, she's doing her job and she's doing a good job. So I think we should just leave it at that. And I don't think this is another thing that we need to micromanage as a council. We've got a lot of other issues that we need to address.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, that concludes my report. I'll answer any more questions if you would like.
Okay, having said that, let's go back to that. So what we're saying is that's okay to do that then?
Yes.
Okay. So I knew. You show hands. Show hands.
She doesn't have to report to me, but she's a PR person. She knows what she's doing. Let her handle her business. I mean, the thing is everybody's always going to get offended about something. There's always going to be somebody somewhere. But the thing is, she's putting the real news out there. And let her do that. There's not anything wrong with it.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, council. I appreciate you.
Brittany, pardon, your statements that you addressed to the council, is that the one that you actually was going to address in public forum?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I figured this is more of an appropriate setting.
Okay. 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 Thank you. Okay, with that being said, Brittany was on public forum, but she addressed that just a little bit ago. We only have one more, and that is Ed McLemore, and his topic is reports. Ed, are you, there he is.
I listened to the chief's report and also the corporate board report, Randall, and some interjections by the chairman. I didn't hear the corporate board talk about the bingo discussion or inquiry or exploration or whatever has gone on that the chief referred to. And the Corporate Board Act, passed by this council back in 2015, gives the corporate board the exclusive oversight for business development and commercial enterprise development. So I'm just curious why the corporate board is not involved and why someone else is when it's squarely within the authority and oversight and responsibility of the corporate board to do this type of business activity. And it, in the Corporate Board Act, specifically says, including gaming. Gaming is within the ambit of the corporate board. So why is someone else having these discussions? That's my question. And I say reports because it was in the one and not the other.
Just quickly, I may have misstated that in terms of commercial gaming. What I'm referring to is charity bingo to start. So that's a whole different charity bingo, charity bingo. So it is not a commercial grade animal. Nonprofit organizations can have this game called paper bingo, and they can use that to generate some funds for different things. In this case, yeah, that's where it started in the beginning. Okay, all right.
So would that still not, yeah, that would still fall under corporate board business if it's gonna bring in any money.
A charity bingo, no, that would be under the government as a nonprofit organization.
Yeah, but it's still money coming in. It's still funds coming into the tribe.
And jobs, and a few jobs. So if we're in disagreement with that, thank you. I'll not pursue that any further.
Well, it's not that you don't need to pursue it. I think it needs to be included with the corporate, which is the business end of the thing. Include them in on it. And if it brings in funding, that's great. If it gives jobs, it's even greater. But I think we need to work together. It needs to be involved with the business end of the tribe. Is that not, the purpose of the CAB?
Are you interested in going into charity bingo at this time?
If it brings in revenue for this tribe, I'm interested in pretty much anything as long as it's legal. In defense of Chief here, there was a meeting that was set up, and he called me and asked me if I'd be willing to attend the meeting, but it's going to be in the library at 10 o'clock. And I showed up at the library, and I asked Della, I said, where's everybody at? Did they already have the meeting? I was about 10 minutes late. And I sat over there and visited with her, waiting for this meeting to transpire. And so after I visited with her till about 20 minutes to 11, well, I left, come over to the complex, to my office. And that's when I discovered it was taking place in the museum. Now, the corporate board did have representation there. Randall did attend that meeting. So in defense of chief, the corporate board was there. And there was just from what I understand, a discussion, and I don't know the names of the people that was with, what was that company called? Planet Bingo. So that being said, if it moves forward, then I will assure you I will be in the next meeting with Planet Bingo because it will probably come before the corporate board. Mr. McLemore, hope that helps you out a little bit, sir.
Yes, I did. I said the library. I didn't mean the John Deere Museum. A little bit different animal. All right. All right. Having said that, no more public forum, new business.
Okay, council, under item number 8, new business, we will go into item number 1, and that is council discussion to vote to approve, disapprove human services to apply for continued funding for FVPS through HHS, ACF, ACYF, and FVPS. The sponsor of this resolution is Jennifer Robinson.
So the FVPS is Family Violence Services and Prevention. ACF is, the rest of the acronyms is for the federal department that it falls under, which is Children and Family Services. I would have to look at the acronyms myself because I have a lot that but basically this is a continued funding that we have received. I know we've received FIPSA for the last, this would be 3 years that I'm aware of. I've applied for it twice while I have been director.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
I want to move forward.
Yes.
Is this same thing we've already been doing?
Yes.
Is it going to be, will there be any increase in funding?
There's a possibility. Last year, we did receive an increase in funding from what we received the prior year. That is determined by the feds.
So you're just needing a motion. I'll make a motion to approve
Yes.
this.
And council, just to ease your minds, actually, there was a resolution passed that is related to everything here. It just had a year on there. And so Jennifer visited with me, and we just need to delete the year so this can be a continuance.
Yes,
Because it allocates for just that year when you put the year in there.
Yes, if we do it without a year, we can use that same resolution for 5 years to apply for this funding, and we do not have to bring it to council every year. Well, I would apply, but I could use the same resolution. Yes.
And what is it for? What are all these acronyms? I need.
Let me show her where it's at.
It's, yes, can I have the?
I'll show you.
So it's our Family Violence Prevention Services through Health and Human Services. ACF is Children and Family Services. ACYF is another federal acronym that I don't remember, but it's all a federal program through Children and Family Services that we apply for, and it's a continued funding source.
Okay. All right.
I'd like to say something, please. On this thing here, we're kind of got to approve HS to apply for continued funding for FVPS. I have no more idea what that all means, and man, the moon does. I don't think it would take very long to spell out just exactly what these things are. These abbreviations don't mean anything to me, and I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you for that.
That's what she was telling her. That was
Right.
her question. What you just asked, that's what she asked, and she answered it.
Well, that's all right. We got two people wanting to know what it's all
Okay.
about then.
Okay, I think what Councilman Dobson's trying to say is in the future, when we have, rather than using acronyms, spell it out.
Yes,
Okay.
and that's that's
All right, thank
that's
you.
not an issue.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, council, under new business, item number 1, we have a motion by Jamie and second by Adeline. And I will call for vote. Liddy? Jeannie?
Yes.
Ella May?
Yes.
Adeline?
Wow.
Frankie? Sharon?
Yes.
I vote yes. Peggy?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
Charles is absent. Barry?
I can't vote twice, yeah.
And Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, Chief Counsel, motion carries.
Council, strike Sharon's voting twice on that. Okay, next item for discussion. I don't know, in the past, we've generally held that the council would bring resolutions, and I think it's written down somewhere that would bring resolutions to the floor, with the exception of the staff members bringing resolutions to the floor. And at this time, let's go ahead and go through this discussion. Let's see whether a council member would be willing to sponsor that resolution at this time. So let's go through that. Are there any discussion with discuss the vote and approve rescinding the following?
Yeah, I think we need this is kind of a historical. I mean, it's been 7 years since this stuff transpired. So I know that Ms. Ukenstein here has the name on the resolution. And if you don't mind, I'd like for her to give an explanation of this, because she's definitely, is that permissible, Mr. AG?
I think it should be done in executive session.
Talk about this situation? Okay.
Okay.
I'll take that in consideration then. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we will do this provided we get executive session. Okay.
With that being said, Chief, the treasurer said she's familiar with these resolutions since she was the treasurer when this was voted on. And so she can explain to us maybe in more detail. Those of us that wasn't on council at that time, I think it's unfair to us to try to vote on something that we're not really familiar with. I certainly have looked through these, and I'm probably going to vote that we do rescind these because of my position with the thing that closing down our casino and everything that transpired, but that's my opinion.
Okay. Okay, moving forward.
Okay.
Can we go to this sheet now?
Yeah. Okay, council, if you'll see the attached sheet that I gave you with my signature on there. At the time the agenda was printed, and I just made a notation of there, when it was posted and sent out, these were submitted after. One we have taken care of was the charter with Bacon. 2, we will need to go into new business, as that was the roads and transportation. But before I would ask for votes on the 3 for the roads and transit, if you'll look at item 3, the Talking Circles projects, those were submitted by John Lowe, which he's been mentioned earlier. There's a resolution, and I think it's 16 UKB 31, where he had came to council, and the council passed a resolution to approve the following projects. And the projects would be anything under Talking Circle. That was actually the umbrella. So the ones that I have, A, B, C, and D under 3, they fit under that umbrella because they all mention the Talking Circles project. So it's just like their inclusions to that whole deal. So there's nothing different. If you'll read them, those are what he's going to start taking into. Am I saying that right, Chief, as to what he'll do on those?
Additionally, the initial resolution that she read off, 16 UKB 31, was administered or approved for Florida Atlantic University. He's now at Florida State University. So there is a little bit of a change in that with location, that sort of thing. Now, the other two items are, and this talking circle is a culturally based rehabilitation program, and it's been taken across the United States and foreign countries. It's worked with youth, tribal youth across the board. In our case, this time it will come back for young adults from 18 to 24, and it is a very cultural based type of rehab, so to speak. The next portion of that is partnering with intervention with hearing loss associated with noise exposure. Those sorts of things are going to is in the process of happening this summer. So if you know anybody that's interested in being a part of this research, please let us know and we'll get them to the right people. And basically that has to do with Native American hearing loss in industry, so to speak. That sort of thing. Later on, there will be a less smoking, healthy living among Native Americans. This is geared at providing an alternate from smoking. Basically, what this is going to be is a research to entice folks to quit smoking. It'll be a 12-week program. At the end of it, should you show, and it's really unique. What they're going to do is give a cell phone that has a tracking device that it sees how much carbon you actually are. And at the end of that, there's the possibility of receiving $1,200. Right. Right. So in addition, it's giving you a stipend to quit smoking is basically what it amounts to. So
Well, let me ask you a question here, Chief. Is
Yeah.
all these A, B, C, and D, A, B, C, and D, does it all apply under the Talking Circles project? Now, I know you mentioned that it was with the Atlantic University, but was it with specifically that university, the only one that had access, or it was with Dr. Lowe to where this is Jim Henson's thing also, isn't it? Or Chief, former chief? Okay, then I'm familiar with it.
Who is it? Jim Henson is a part of.
Right.
Yes, yes.
So it would appear to me that it would just be a continuing resolution. Mr. Sachs, you're the continuing resolution king here. Does that sound like something that you agree with?
I'd like to make a comment on that.
Okay. Floor recognizes.
I can't understand why on this earth that everybody is so after tobacco. It's been going on ever since time begun. Our people have used it in the spiritual movement and the whole thing. That all it wants, tobacco is the devil. Did it? Anyway, you turn right around on every damn street corner there is in every town, marijuana for sale. Come and get it. You're going to tell me that marijuana is not going to hurt you as bad as tobacco is? It's absolutely ridiculous, people.
Okay.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that comment. Yes, let's move forward now.
Okay, council, you've seen the added agenda items, but I will come back and we will need to entertain motions for number 2 and number 3.
Second.
Okay, I heard 3 seconds. Who wants to take the credit for that? Oh, okay. All right. Okay, we have a motion by Eddie and a second by Jamie. And those, I believe, are for 2 and 3. So we'll take a vote. We have a vote. We have a motion on the floor by Eddie and a second by Jamie for item number 2 that will be noted new business, and that's for the LRTP update, the new rate submission, and the transportation safety plan. I will call for vote. Eddie? Jeannie?
Yes.
Ella May?
Yes.
Adeline?
Well,
Frankie? Sharon?
Yes.
I vote yes. Peggy? Jamie?
Yes.
Charles is absent. Barry?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, council. Motion carries. We will keep the motion by Eddie and the second by Jamie. And in reference to item number 3, under noted new business. And that will be the Talking Circles projects, which is the Talking Circle for Young Adults, tribal partnered intervention to prevent hearing loss associated with noise exposure, less smoking for healthy living among Native Americans, and Native Elders Wellness. I will call for vote. Eddie? Jeannie?
Yes.
Ella May?
Yes.
Hadling?
Yes.
Frankie? Sharon?
Yes.
I vote yes. Peggy?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
Charles is absent. Barry?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, Chief, Council, motion carries. Council before, or I'm sorry, Chief. Council, I also had at your seating a copy of the committee bylaws, which was this. At the time of after the business meeting had adjourned, there was some continued of a resolution that we passed to reorganize some of the committees. There has been a submission of names for the Education Committee. I'm bringing that to your attention, and I would need a clarification and a motion to accept the members, the names to be the members of this committee. And they are to read Olita Pritchett, Linda Davis, Adeline Smith, Susan Adair, and Corey Steele.
I'm right, no, I forgot.
Is this something you guys did at the meeting the other day?
I also submitted them about, what, 3-4 weeks ago
Mhm.
here.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I submitted Susan A.
Yeah, these names were submitted to me, council. And this is just solely for the Education Committee.
Okay.
So the names that I read, and if the council, I will take a vote for those names. Now, I had told, I believe, at that time, you would need an alternate. So later on, if y'all figure out another alternate, we can add to the list.
That was my agreement, yes.
Okay. All right, and we will note that as other business. Okay, and the motion came by Ella May, correct?
Yes.
And the second was Frankie. Mhm. Okay, I will call for vote for this approval of the names for the Education Committee. Eddie? Jeannie?
Yes.
Ella May?
Yes.
Adeline?
Well,
Frankie? Sharon?
Yes.
I vote yes. Peggy?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
Charles is absent. Barry?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, Chief, Council, motion carries. Thank you. With that being said, Adeline, once the resolutions, will you be able to contact all and let them know they've been approved by the council? Okay.
everybody but Susan, I've got a yes.
Okay, and I believe Ella May's, okay. All right, thank you.
All right, that concludes our resolutions for the day. Well, with the exception, we do have one pending. At this time, we call for public forum. Is there a motion? I'm sorry, public forum, I'm sorry.
Motion.
Executive session, item number 9.
Motion.
Motion. Second.
Motion to do what?
Executive session.
Is that not?
Okay, yes.
Okay, Adeline. Adeline.
And it is just to cover the
Erkenstein's, yeah, that's what I'm second.
Yeah. Joy Hewing maybe is too, don't you?
Yeah.
And Barry was here at that time. I think Eddie was.
Yes. Okay, council, at the request to take item number 2 under new business to be discussed in executive session at this time to include the Attorney General and Ramona. We have a motion by Ella May and a second by Adeline to enter executive session. I will call for vote. Eddie? Jeannie?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. To enter executive session. Ella May?
Yes.
Adeline?
Well,
Frankie? Sharon? I vote yes. Peggy?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
Charles is absent. Barry?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, we are. You can put a time on it too. It's not like you can make it go longer. What? 30? 5? What, 30 minutes at the most? Okay. Okay, we are in executive session. Somebody give me a time.
It is 16 minutes, 12:31.
Hello?
If we got
Testing.
Hello,
forms,
hello, hello.
it's not-
1, 2, 1, 2.
to make a form then.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
Let's come out of executive
Hey.
session.
Okay.
Hush.
14 years to me.
Okay,
Okay, count-
we call order here. Order.
Council, we are going to take a vote to come out of executive session to exit. We have a motion by Adeline and a second by Frankie to exit, and I will call for vote. Eddie? Jeannie?
Yes.
Elamay?
Yes.
Adeline? Frankie?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
I vote yes. Peggy?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
Charles is absent. Barry?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, council. We are back into regular session at 1:09 p.m. Okay, council, at the time of the executive session to exit, there was discussion of item number 2. There is no vote to be taken. The consensus is to readdress that at a later time. With that being said, that's all my announcements as to the vote. And pardon?
I've got some announcements.
Wait. At this time, we go into item 10, announcements.
The UKB Elder Council asked me to inform the other counselors and the public that they give $50 to assist families of exclusive UKB members with the after funeral service meals. So, and then they also will purchase a plant or flower for the funeral services. And they said if anyone interested, please contact Robert Whitekiller at 918-718-1356, or he referred it back to me myself if you are interested to utilize these benefits. And also, they are currently seeking elders and volunteers to participate with the Elder Council, which meets on the third Saturday of each month at 10 a.m. at the museum. It says, please come out and join them for some coffee and donuts. And then I want to continue on to, I'm hosting a benefit volleyball tournament at the UKB Wellness Center next Saturday for the Woodall Chess Club. And Brittany, I sent her the information, so she'll be getting it out, getting it to Travis also, so we can get that out there. And yep, so it's going to be the Woodall Chess Club has qualified for the national chess tournament in Grapevine, Texas. So going to be raising money for them. The last volleyball tournament fundraiser was really good. Brittany did a great story on Krista Downing, so had some great results there. And then also on April the 20th, some of the employees have contacted me in regards to there hasn't been a Easter celebration in a while. So we're coordinating right now an Easter celebration here on the grounds. And so right now what we have planned is it will consist of an Easter egg hunt for the kids, volleyball and horseshoe tournament for anyone interested. There will be live music with Steve Jones and the Country Gospel Band. And right now we're planning on serving hot dogs and chili. And all information will be posted on the UKB Facebook page as soon as we get all the details finalized. And so we're still working on that right there. So as soon as we get to, and then also on April the 26th, UKB member Abby Stopp and her family will be having a benefit Indian taco dinner and garage sale at the UKB Wellness Center. And Abby is a junior at Oaks Mission High School, and her fast pitch team has qualified for the 2019 USSSA National Championship Tournament, July 8th through the 14th in Branson, Missouri. And all proceeds from that taco sale and garage sale will offset her travel expenses. So, yeah, and like I said, I'll be getting all the information out, and hopefully, that one is on the 26th. Yes. So got a busy next couple of weeks. Yeah. So and then we called the meeting too. So I'm gonna be strung out everywhere. So it's I'm looking forward to it. So yeah. So please spread the word if you can. Come out and let's have a good time. It's Abby Stop. She's a UKB member. Yeah. It's going to her and her family. They'll be up there. It's looking like it's a 7-day, 6-night tournament. So you're going to be there for a week. So yes. I'm not quite sure on that. She didn't give me a time just yet. So like I said, as soon as I can get all the information, I will get it to Brittany, and it'll be on the UKB Facebook site. So still yet working on finalizing a lot of this stuff, and still got to meet with some of the employees that are have offered to help with the Easter celebration also. So
One
still
quick
working on
question.
some plans.
Is there an application for that elder council, $50? Is it an application, or how do you do
No,
that?
Robert just said to contact him, and he will. After the funeral meal, and it's $50 cash. He said no questions asked. As long as they're UKB exclusive. And just prove. Just let them know who it is. Yeah, $50 and a flower. Yes. Get a hold of him, and And, I will get that information out too.
In your packets, I talked to you about how we continuously look at our vendors and reassess if we're going to work with a vendor or not. I would like for our members to know that when they are calling for burial assistance through Human Services, to please call Human Services to make sure that they are utilizing a vendor that we still have an agreement with. The other thing, and I will send it out this week, is I have a list of approved vendors for burial services that I will send out to all council so that you know who is in your area. And if you don't have somebody in your area, please let me know so I can reach out and see if we can get a home in your area.
Okay.
Also with that, Reed Culvert for the Tahlequah district, Reed Culvert is not on that list, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Adeline had April the 11th.
Yeah, April 11th, 6 p.m.
Okay.
Jay?
Every second Thursday of each month.
Yeah.
Delaware District meeting is April the 11th, 6 p.m., Jay Community Center. My meetings are held every month on the second Thursday of each month.
Okay, additionally, one of the items, I'm just going to make a little bit of announcement about it. Maxwell, December Maxwell, I believe she is the daughter of Chief Jim Henson, has requested, and she wants to do a research project for her dissertation, I believe, at this time. And it's examining, or not examining, but it's talking about measures for child delivery and postpartum afterwards, some of the remedies that may be out there. So we'll get a number and a name out to everyone if you have anybody who's interested in talking about that.
She wants to interview all UKB. That's who her focus is. So.
Okay. Okay. No more announcements. No more announcements.
I have one. And this announcement just is related to our benediction. Early this morning, about 7:30, Amanda Stopp's dad passed away. So if you will keep her in your prayers, and then everyone that comes around the community, he was our onion man. He'd bring us onion and mushrooms. So y'all might know him, but just keep her and her family in your prayers. Okay.
They'll do it, don't they?
Tim Washington.
Good mushroom man, too. I'm telling you. Yes.
Okay.
Wild onions, anything, yes.
George,
Okay.
do you still have the forms, the monthly meeting forms for the council people? The forms for the people, the time that they showed up at your meeting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll
Still
send,
have
yeah,
those?
I'll mail you some.
Okay.
All right.
All right, with that, we'll move to item number 11, benediction.
April the 18th?
Who wants to
Okay.
give the benediction?
Wait, Chief, will you wait a minute? When you're in Cadbury Chapel? Canterbury
I need it.
at 6:30. Okay, for those that didn't hear that, Peggy has her district meeting on April the 18th at 6:30 at Canterbury Chapel.
Where is that?
In Valiant,
In Valiant, yes,
Canterbury Chapel.
Canterbury.
And
What the-
remember, Saturday, next Saturday, 10 o'clock, right?
Okay, got to delete, I delete it, Jeff, would you like to do that this afternoon? Then,
Dear Lord, we come to you today to thank you for giving us this day and blessing us with everything that you have blessed us with. And please look after everybody as they travel home today and give everybody the strength and the courage to go through the rest of the day. And we thank you for everything that you do for us, Lord. And thank you for the partnerships that we were able to come through with today. And please give us the knowledge to continue on our journey in the future of the tribe to make sure that we're on the right track. We thank you for everything that you've done for us, Lord. In your name, amen. Amen.
okay, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We're done.